This is actually, yes. So this is actually mainly for parents. But if the students want to hear it or learn from it, yes, of course, the students can also stay here and listen to it. Okay. All right, so everybody, welcome to our pre-exam spring strategy. And also for today, we're going to talk about some of the math competition planning as well, how to plan your competition pathway in the long term. That's also what we're going to talk about for today. Okay, so first of all, let me briefly introduce myself. My name is Branson, and I'm right now the head of Think Academy's competition department. So I'm pretty familiar with Math Kangaroo, MCA, and also MC10. So if you have any questions regarding those competitions, and you can just raise it up later throughout this whole process. And for and also I'm the MCA sprint coach. And right now in Think Academy primary schools ACE coach. So the ACE track is actually the highest track. It's just like something the group of students who are really seriously taking math competition as their goal. So is I'm teaching that group of students, and also I have taught more than 500 American MCA candidates. And in 2024, which is previous year, the MCA competition, because I'm right now only coach the grade 4 students, more than 50 students in the 4th grade alone won the awards. So those are my students, including more than 20 honorable and distinguished honorable students, and they are only in the 4th grader. Okay, so which means I have like a plenty of experiences regarding MCA, especially for primary students. But in the similar later, I will talk about for both primary and middle school students in general as well. So don't worry about it if you belong to both of the like groups. Okay, so that's basically about myself. And regarding today's agenda, well, we're gonna cut this into 3 parts. First of all, we'll review the sprint planning. So what should be the review sprint planning just 1 week before the exam? Actually, our official exam starting from tomorrow, but I actually know that most of the test center will have the exam in the weekends probably. So that's why for some of you probably still got 1 week to prepare for that, or at least 3 to 5 days. So how can you thrive, or how can you success in those 3 to 5 days? We're gonna talk about that later. And second one is the important exams strategies. And this is a part we're gonna focus on the in-exam strategies. And also I'm gonna, based on the past experience, I'm gonna share with you some of the like tricks to do the exam. And the third one is the long-term planning. So how to plan the long-term pathway of the math competition from the MCA exam. So what is actually the impact of MCA, or what's the next step for the next for MCA? There's no any mock exam today, but I'm gonna share with you how to access to the past mock exam later. So, first of all, I want you guys to sort this importance of those 3 items together. So, what to do before the exam? First of all, solve the hard problems. And second, you can check the gaps and consolidate the foundation. And third one is adjust your mindset. What do you guys think of is the importance from the most important to the least important? You can just put the numbers in order and send it to the group chat. So can you guys send it in the group chat? Let's see. So let's rank the importance. Is anyone has any like answers? So someone says the second one is most important. Check the gaps and consolidate foundation. Oh, so someone says 3, 2, 1, which is adjust mindset and check gaps and also solve the hard problems. Okay. So basically, all of you guys put the number 3 in the first place. That's definitely what I would agree with. So this is my order of the importance, but it really depends on the situation of our students. Different students, they probably are in the different stages. So which for you have a importance ranking, but for right now, I'm saying for general students, those are the rankings. So first of all, your mindset, your emotional state before exam is definitely very, very important and crucial. And the second one is your foundation is also very important. And the third step is actually to solve some of the hard problems. Okay, so talking about after ranking those importance, let's talk about what's the reality or the challenges of our students facing before the exam. First of all is some of the students are actually unable to firmly grasp the knowledge points. So they still have some like gaps for the knowledge points. And so they don't know like where to get started. And second one is I want to spread before the exam, but there are so many things I can do. And I don't know where to like get started. Like I said, this thing it's also pretty common. So later I'm gonna talk about what's a priority for you to like a review for exam, and you can just actually make a choice on which thing to review. And third one is most of the students are actually prone to emotionally fluctuation. So that's why as parents, our like I'd say right before the exam, our most important duty is to help our students to build a healthy emotional state. And also I will like teach you how to do this later. And the top one pre-exam strategy, let's first of all talk about check for the missing point and build a foundation. The most important and crucial step for this point is to review. So this is actually a magic weapon for winning the sprint stage. And first of all, during the MCE preparation process, we'll actually find some of the like important points or the missing points that our current students have. Is the first thing is it seems that all of the knowledge points you have been mastered. Like this happens to a lot of our long-term students. They think they've mastered all of the knowledge points and they're good to go and they're ready. But when you are really when it comes to really like specific details or the practice problems, the students may not fully understand them, so that this may cause some like um wrong questions or your mistake in the problem. So this is I list one example here, and this is asked by one of the parents, of course, in Mandarin Chinese. So I kindly just translate this into English. So it's showing me one of the picture and saying this question is exactly what I helped my child review this morning, and he actually find out that corresponding angles do not necessarily exist only between parallel lines, because in most cases, try to require our no matter for parents or teachers, when you are talking about the corresponding angles, in most cases you are talking about okay, the corresponding angles for the one parallel line, they're actually the same, so you're talking about this property. But in some other questions, when they say corresponding angles, it's not necessarily mean that they're always in between parallel lines. So they also exist between non-parallel lines. So if you, for example, miss this type of tiny details when it comes to the real exam questions, you may mistake. You will may understand it. Oh, the corresponding only exists in the parallel lines, and so this option D is definitely incorrect. So you might cross that out. So this is just one tiny example. So I would like recommend our students before the exam to go through all of the like wrong question to check if you really understand what's the knowledge points behind this. Do you fully understand that? And if yes, then that's good. Okay, this is one of the commonly mistake our students may make. And the second one is that this is also not another perspective. Asking the same question in different ways or expressing the same knowledge point may cause challenges to students' understanding. So sometimes when you're actually from the like teacher's perspective or the teachers who made those problems perspective, you think you are actually asking the same thing. but you're expressing it slightly differently. And at this time, if our students didn't understand quite well, they will actually like misunderstand this. So in this case, we actually need to see more questions and do more practices so that we can understand the nature of the relationship. So this is another problem the parent is saying. So I have a question about this. So the problem does not mention the cost, but instead assume the purchase price is the cost. Is that correct? So in this question, it didn't like usually they will tell you, oh, the cost is blah blah blah. So you need to calculate what's the revenue or the profit, etc. But for this one, it didn't tell you. But instead, it will just directly show you that the purchase price is actually equal to how many. Okay, so in this case, some of the students may feel confused. Oh, I don't see any profit. I don't see any cost in it. So where is my cost? So this is just another like a um another variation of the problems. So just just because the small examples like this, a lot of students may like ignore this and make mistake. So that's why for this one, it's also very, very important for you to practice more of the questions you may mistake, and so that you can just fill the gap in between. Okay, so those are the two commonly like example I give it to you guys. So all in all, go back to the topic that we're talking about. For the top one strategy for today is actually to review and check for the missing point. But how can we review? And what is our priority when we are checking for the missing point? Here, I give it to you like some of the directions. The first one is you need to have the targeted practices. You have to like shift your weight on some of the points. What on some of the like modules or knowledge points? What are the modules or knowledge points you need to pay special attention? It is those sections that are tested more frequently in the exam. So you should review those part first and then go back to some other parts. Probably they will test less than those points. So based on each of the like different modules that's tested more frequently in the exam, you need to find out your weak points by doing those questions. So this is the first direction. And second one is to do the wrong question sorting and summarizing. And you can just gather all of the questions where you made mistake either from your mock exam or when you are practicing the real exams and you find all of the wrong questions. And for the students who are currently in our long-term courses, you can simply just go to the like the notebook. The notebook actually collect all of the questions you made mistake in class and also in your like quizzes, anything like that. So you can just go ahead and review that. So those two parts are the most important. Okay, so now here comes the question. Some of the parents might say, oh, what are the most frequently tested like knowledge points or modules in the exam? So here, let me show you. We need to practice what we are actually tested on. So for this one, I have a little summary of the modules in the past 10 years. According to the past 10 years MCA exam, the most tested two modules are the word problems and geometry. Okay, so for the word problems, especially for the word problems, this part is what students are pretty like not very good at in school learning. Okay, so I often hear about lots of parents saying complaining that in school the teachers don't teach much about the word problems, so that's why the students have trouble in reading the questions and find out the key points and turn the key points into the numbers or mathematic and languages that we do in math competition. So this is where you guys need to like pay special attention before the exam. And the second part, it's not a surprise, of course, geometry, right? Especially if you wanna aiming for the award or you wanna aiming for some like a perfect scores or distinguished honor roll or honor roll. The geometry will usually appear in the second half of this exam, usually like around 18, question 18 and above, especially that parts like the three-dimensional shapes and the square and circles and sectors, etc., etc. So especially the curved geometry, that's the main focus point. So this is for the geometry. And then after the most two modules, you can just go ahead to review the number and operation. This one is also pretty important because this is the most appeared module in the first 10 to 15 questions. And also you will serve, even though you will not like appear solely as one question in the later harder questions, but it will serve as one of the step to like get to the answer, especially in the last five questions. For example, you wanna if you don't know what the difference square formula is, and it's probably gonna stuck on one of steps when you are solving the like a harder question and most challenging questions. And some of also other pretty important modules, including number theory and combinations, and also counting and probabilities. So those are the important modules where you need to focus on. So knowing this, we probably know like the direction or our target of review is. And now let me like list for you the three great resources that we can use for review. The first thing first is the wrong questions accumulated during the long-term class study. Or if you are not in my long-term class, you can also like go ahead to like see all of the papers that you've done, the mock exams or the past exams, and to like check each of the wrong question if you really understand it and why did you make mistake. Okay, and do you understand it now, and do you know the knowledge point behind and the method behind. And second one is the mock exam, and this one will provide a test experience similar to the real exam. So Think Academy also provides several mock exam, and later I'm gonna show you how we can access to the to those all of those mock exams, and also the past MCA exam questions, and especially you can reorganize those like the questions or the missed real exam questions into like sort of like a mock exam paper, and you can practice them with a time limit to see if you can do those questions correct again. And for here, I wanna say that for the past exam, the newest one actually, the closer one to the real MCA exam. Some parents will come to me and say, oh, I did like the 90s MCA exam, and it's pretty good. And I would say that that one is a lot easier than what we did while we're testing it in the MCA today. So I would suggest you like leave 1 to 2 like a 2023 or 2022's AMC exam paper before the real exam started, so that you can have a sense of what the real exam is, and you can also adjust your pace of doing the exams. Yeah, so those are the great resources. And for here, like I said, Think Academy have a bunch of resources, and you can just join our WhatsApp group by scanning the QR code, and we're gonna provide you with the mock exam collections. I think so far we have 6 mock exams. I'm gonna provide you with that. And right before this, we just did a daily practice problems, and we can also provide you with daily practice problem sets, the collection of that. So you can just scan the QR code to join our WhatsApp group so that we can provide you with the resources. Yep. So this is the QR code, and I will delete here for around 10 seconds. Let me check show me the slides before. Uh, don't worry about it. Yeah, we're gonna provide the playback and of this meeting and after the webinar, so you can always go back to check. So the list of resources are the wrong questions and the mock exam and the past exams. So those are the three great resources that I would recommend you to review before the exam. Okay, so here I talked about the first priority thing is to do the review and check the wrong questions. And the next thing that I want to talk about, of course, is stabilize your mindset and state. And so, in what level you can say, oh, I have a pretty good mindset and state is when you can have those those descriptions of ability. So if those questions difficulty is within your scope of ability, you have the confidence to get not 100%, but at least 90% of them correct. And if the question's difficulty level is beyond the scope of your abilities, then you will know some of them. Okay, not all of them. Some of them you probably have some systematic methods or little tricks of solving this. Okay, so those are our goals of stabilize our mindset. And to do this, we can actually have a little strategy so that we can help our students to have a really, really stable and healthy mindset before the exam. I'm gonna talk about it later. It didn't work? Okay, sorry about that. Let me double check what's going on. Mm, I think several of you guys actually joined it by scanning the QR code. Um, Let me double check. Oh, so if you in Bellevue, this is banned. I think the QR code works, but I don't know why it's a banned in Bellevue. Sorry about that. Um, you can because we're gonna send the after webinar email to you. So if you have any questions or you want to join the group, you can email us back. So we'll want to invite you to the groups or send you the resources. Yeah. Okay, so since for here we'll talk about how to stabilize your mindset. For here, I want to give you guys like two examples of my students and how they prioritize their strategy and they get pretty different results. The student A, from his average mock test score is usually 15, so it's around like 15. So probably sometimes he get 14, but if it's high, he can achieve 16 or even 17. That one. Okay, so his goal for the real exam is to get 18. So based on this goal, he prioritized his strategy to focus on breaking through the 18-point barrier. So he really want to achieve the 8 point of 18. So he want to go to probably solve some like questions of 20, just in case he made mistake in the first 18 questions. So he practiced a lot of the difficult questions before the exam, and he spent 2 to 3 hours on each questions and then study not on each questions but on like several different questions and then study the analysis and understand the solution ideas and summarize. So it seems like for the general like a study flow, it's totally okay. So but can you guys take a guess eventually based on just this, eventually what's the score he got eventually? You can take a guess. Anyone? Anyone want to take a guess? 19, 25, 20. Okay. Wow, pretty high, right? So 17, 20. Okay. So I think all of you have a pretty high expectation on this. But let me tell you, eventually, um, this is what happened. Eventually, he only got 12 points. But this is the one of the extreme case I wanna like bring it up to you. And the problem encountered is this student, he does not have a very stabilized mindset. So right before the exam, the parents also let him focus on the difficult questions, and he just felt too much pressure. So that's why during the exam, he just got so nervous. He feel like, oh, I have to get the first 15 question correct. So that's why every time there's even a little part he don't understand or he is not sure, he was not sure, and then he feel like stressed and nervous. So that's why it caused him to underperform. And just because of this, he even got the simple questions wrong. So eventually he only got 12 points. I'm not saying, okay, practice hard questions is definitely wrong or something. I'm just giving you one of example of my students. And this is might be like an extreme case, but the point I try to make here is not try to avoid to like aiming for some like really hard problems right before the exam, especially 2 to 5 days before the exam, so that this can cause like the inability, the fluctuation of their emotional states. They might focus on, okay, you have such a high expectation on me, so how can I bear a mistake in my exam? So that's what causing this. So definitely different students, probably they have like a different levels of, the stability of mindset. So just choose the corresponding or correct strategy that I think is right for you, for your students. So this is student A. And student B, this is his average score is among 12 to 13. So this is the average for mock exam, and his goal is actually to get 15. So here's his preparation strategy. He has a clear expectation. So he focused on review the easy and medium difficulty questions and try to avoid spend too much time on the difficult questions. But that does not mean 100% totally give up the difficult questions. He also learned the specific techniques or specific ways of solving those high frequency test points. So what he did is he find out all of the high frequency test points, like what I said, the three-dimensional shapes and the sectors with the circles and with the squares, something like that. So for those specific modules, he learned the specific techniques to approach those problems. Okay. And but I didn't spend that much time practicing it, wasting a lot of time on it. And you guys can take a guess what is the score eventually he got. So we have 18, 17, 20. Okay, that's actually a fair guess. Eventually he got like a achievement roll with 15 points. That's just meet his points. So here, why he can achieve this goal, I think there's one very, very important that his parents did very well, is to clear the expectation and his goal. So what is the difference between the expectation and the goal? Is that expectation is based on what your mark exam scores or your performance in your daily practice. Our parents and also our students themselves could have a clear expectation. For this students, his expectation is, oh, my level, I think as long as I get around 13, that's fine. That is my level. But if I get that, that's okay. I've already done my best. But if I can go above that, that's perfect. That means I can achieve our goal. And at the same time, his parents said, okay, your goal is 15, doesn't necessarily have to get to that point. But in order to get 15, here's what things that I need to do. Probably focus on the medium difficulty problems from 15 to 18. So be careful, it's only 15 to 18, not go above 20 or that many problems. And for the difficult questions, he like I said, spent a specific time on that to learn the specific strategy and the techniques. So he didn't waste that much time. So that's why in the exam he has a pretty good mindset. So he did his best exam and got all the points he deserved. I remember it's for the first 15 question, he got all of the 14 points correct. So it's there's only one really silly mistake he made. But For the rest of the question, he happens to encounter like the geometry module. He had learned the tricks to solve. So eventually, in total, he got 15 of the questions correct. So that's why he got the achievement role with 15 points. So this is the points I'm trying to make here. As a parent, we need to clear or distinguish what the expectation is and what the goal is. So this will help our students to build a very, very stable mindset and emotional state. Okay? So, yeah, like I said, to summarize this from those two examples, I want to say that maintain the rhythm or the pace of doing questions. Do not rush. Some of the students or parents might think, oh, it's really close to the real exam. I need to give our students more practice to do so that they can outperform in the real exam. That's not the case right here. If you give too much practice to the students, and of course, because you give too much, so they first of all they will feel impatient, and also the inaccuracy rates will increase, and at the same time, this will largely affect their confidence in the exam. Okay, so what I would suggest is to review regularly before the exam. If you daily spend like 2 hours around, just spend 2 hours around daily. Do not go above 2 hours. Some of you will do a bunch of practices, so like spend 4 to 5 hours per day. That's actually not a very good strategy of approaching the exam. And the second one is, like I said, most important thing, clarify your expectation for the exam. The goals are not equal to expectation. So if you clarify the expectation to your to your children or to the students, and they can actually face it pretty calmly. So this is the what stabilize the mindset. And also the third one is don't panic facing the questions beyond your abilities. And here, selectively practice questions that are beyond your expected difficulties. There here selectively means you have to select those high tested frequency problems and with the goal of mastering efficient problem solving skills. So those are the general method of stabilizing helping our students stabilizing the mindset. But like I said, different students, they probably have a different situation. So as a parent, you know your children's best. So you can just like adjust the strategy based on their situation. Okay. So this is the mindset part. And here I would recommend some of the ways to review. First of all, summarize why and how of this process of making mistake. So try to stress the importance of the progress, not just the result. So this will also help our students to like adjust their mindset. And also second one is use the time to practice. The time to practice does not mean is to, oh, you have to finish those like 20 or 15 questions within 40 minutes. But instead, we can help our students to set a clearer goal. For example, you have to finish 10 questions within the first 10 minutes, like 15 questions in the first 25 minutes, et cetera, et cetera. So for the specific time allocation strategy, I will also give you like an example or sort of like templates for different stages of the students. But that's just for your reference. Again, for different students have different situation, so you have to adjust that. And the third one is to maintain a regular learning pace. Do not rush. Do not all of a sudden give a tons of the practices. That will just make our students feel overwhelmed. Okay, so this is the three suggestions to review. And talking about all of the review method, now I want to move into the during in-exam strategies and experiences sharing for MCA. Because like I said, I've already helped more than 500 students to take the MC exam. So I usually learn from my students from their experiences, their in exam experiences. So for here, I want to also share with you. First of all, I want to separate this into two parts. The first part is before exam. What I need to do is, first of all, you confirm your registration and confirm the examination venue information. So this is very, very important. If you don't confirm that, all of the preparations actually becomes nothing. So this is, even though it's a small thing, but you have to do that. Check all the confirmations. And also get your stationaries ready. Even though I think Academy's test center will have backup pencils or erasers, but it's always better for you to prepare everything ready. What if like your test center does not provide the stationaries? So it's always better for you to prepare yourself. And second one is during the exam. During the exam, the most important two things is to set a very clear exam goals and expectation in advance, and also to estimate the time allocation, to set your time allocation strategy as well in advance. So what you need to do during the exam is to really apply your strategy. Okay. So first of all, let's talk about the preparation before the exam, and make sure you have already put all of your information through the link provided by your test center, and it should be a website from MAA. And also before the exam, make sure you have received approval from the test centers. Okay, those are the two must-have steps. And the second one is learn about the parking and transportation and test time at the time site in test site in advance. Okay, because the MCA exam, it's like a period of time. It's like within a week. So even though it's the same test center, they may have different exam times. So make sure you know what is the specific test time for you for your time slot. Okay. And for I don't know about some other test centers. Think Academy will give you the email to notify you about the parking and transportation and test time in advance. But for some other test centers, if they didn't send you the information, it will be better for you to call them or write an email to them so that you can just better prepare for that. And the third one is prepare your exam supplies. The On the teacher's menu, we the only permitted stationery only include the blank drafted papers, number two pencils, rulers, and erasers. Okay. Again, this is really based on how the test center interpret this rule. Some test center will apply in reinforce this pretty firmly. So which means they only allow those four items. But some of them will say, okay, probably you can have a clock, you can have a watch, something like that. Okay, so it really depends on the test center. So it really depends on the test center. So you need to really double check that. I don't think campuses is allowed. I will double check on the teacher's menu because I remember campuses is actually not allowed. I remember it's allowed in the 2022-2023 exam, but for this year, I don't think I remember seeing that in the teacher's manual, but I will double check that. Okay. And also it's you better for you to really ask your test center. Okay. And during the exam, like I said, the most important thing is to set expectation, and then all you need to do is to execute your plans. So for here, first of all, clarify your goals and capability. So you can, through the mock exams and practice problems, you have a clear understanding of your goals and your ability range so that you won't cause that much of the inabilities, like a fluctuation in your mindset. And also, before the exam, you must plan your time according to the difficulty of the questions. For some like easy, medium, and challenging and extreme challenging problems, you may allocate and spend different times. And those plans is gonna vary based on your different goals. And next, I'm gonna show you a table of the time allocation strategy. And the third one, might not applies to everybody, but I would suggest for those of you who are like mature enough and also you have this ability, you wanna aiming for the scores, it would be better for you to like keep estimating your scores during the exam. And the reason why I said mature enough is I know some of my students, they're probably only in like third grade, or even though some of the students in fourth grade, they're probably not that mature enough to like keep estimating their score, and that's what cause burden to them. So if it's in that case, it's not required for them to do so. Okay, just let them try them best. So those are the three strategies. And for here, let me show you the time allocation strategy. Based on the different target, probably it's a first try, or you want to aim for the achievement roll, or aim for honor roll, or distinguished honor roll. We have different allocation strategies. If it's our first try, or you want to get the achievement roll, your goal is definitely to nail the 15, the 15 questions correct. So that's why we spend 30 minutes for the first 15 questions. Okay. So for the question 1 to 5, you have 6 minutes, which means for each questions, you're gonna spend more than 1 minute to make sure you've done that question correct. Again, for 6 to 10 questions, those is slightly harder, so that's why we invested like 8 minutes in it. But all you need to do is to make sure you've done the questions correct, so that in the question 11 to 15, you spend 60 minutes to get like try your best to get all of the questions correct. But if not, you still want to get to achievement roll. So that's why we also left 10 minutes for you to like browse and read the questions from 16 to 25 and try your best to solve the questions that you can. And one thing that I want to stress to you guys is you have to leave 1 to 2 minutes for you to check your answer sheet and to review the answer. Every year we just have the students who didn't fill out the answer sheet, or the students they actually mark the wrong answer sheet. They mark the question 2 on the question 3 on the answer sheet. Every year this happens. So that's why it's always very important to leave 1 to 2 minutes to double check that. So that's why you have to invest time some that. And if you want to aiming for honor roll, for the first 15 questions, we have 20 minutes. And honor roll is usually around 15. So that's why you have to get, sorry, not 15, 18. So that's why you have to get like 18 of the questions correct. So which means for most of the questions, for the first 15 questions, you have to get it correct. You at most can lose 2 points. Better you can get all of them correct, so that from question 16 to 25, then you can achieve 2 to 4 points. Then you can get honor roll. But this is not guaranteed. Honor roll is always 18. As we know, the threshold or the line, the score for the honor roll is always changing. It varies every year. So it's very, very important you prioritize that based on your goal. And third one is distinguished honor roll. Distinguished honor roll, usually it's like above 21 points. So that's why you have to really get to the difficult questions. So we just allocate 15 questions for the first 15, 15 minutes for the first 15 questions, which means 1 minute per question. So you really need to do that. So that's how you leave 25 minutes for the last 10 questions, so that you can have time, enough time to tackle those hard questions. So those are the allocation strategy in general. So let me see the chat box. Will it be online? MCA will never be online in the US. Okay, so in the US, MCA is only in-person exams. Yeah, it's 40 minutes, not 45. So you talked about a lot of online registration. Are you talking about mock exam? Because a mock exam, we did use the online registration, but MCA, the official exam, is never online. It's always in-person exams. So whether if it's on paper or on computer or iPad or something, it's actually depends on the test center. Okay. In Think Academy, ours is on paper, it's paper based, but in some other centers, there will be computer based. Okay. Uh in every test center of Think Academy, we're gonna have a timer to count down so that every students can see how many how much time got left. So this is the time allocation. And also those strategies, it's very important as well is the question solving strategies. First of all, if the questions are similar, like they are very close, for example, the question 15 and 16, later ones unnecessarily harder. If Which means if you got stuck, move on. This happens to this year's AMC 10 test. Okay. In MC 10B, because MC 10 has A and B, two different tests. In MC 10B, there's one question is around question 15. It's super hard. It's like the question 25's difficulty level. So a lot of students just got stuck there. And actually, for the last two questions, question 25 and 24, they're actually pretty easy. They're actually like the difficulty of question 15 or even question 10's difficulty level. So that's why it's always better for you to browse all of the later questions to see if you can really solve them and don't spend too much time on only one question. Okay. This is one of strategy. And another one is assess your answers during the test. Like I said, if you have this ability, assess it. So if it's like diverge from your goal, ensure enough time for the later questions. And the third one is no penalty for the wrong questions. This is a little different from MC10 because for MC10, if you leave it blank, you still get 2 points. But if you got it wrong, you'll get 0 points. So there's a difference when you didn't put in any answer or you got it wrong. So, but MCA is there's no any penalty or there's no any difference when you do not put any answer and you got it wrong. So that's why I would recommend you guys to answer every question and leave 2 minutes for the review. Okay. So this is only for the exam strategy. When we're preparing for the exam, we'll never stress that. Okay, we're preparing for the exam. We'll always make sure our students like know why is the answer. But this is just the in-class strategy. Okay, so after the strategy part, some questions raised by the parents. So I also collected some of the questions raised by our parents. Is first of all from our primary school student parents. If my child's first attempt is at G4 or G5, so how should they strive for honor roll or distinguished honor roll in the future? And what are the benefits of taking MCA and what's next for MCA? And if it's too late for middle school students to prepare for MCA. So I'm gonna ask those commonly asked questions later. So this is actually associated with the long-term math competition planning. And so for the last part, we're gonna stress on this a little bit. First of all, what is MCA or why is MCA very important? As you can see here in the US, if you wanna really develop in the math competitions pathway, the first entry levels exam is probably MCA. Okay, MCA. And it is only through MCA you build that math competition knowledge base and you build that foundation, then you can move into MC 10 and 12. So that why do we need to get to MC 10 and 12? That is because from the top 7% of MC 10 and 12, you can qualify AIME. And for most of our students, who are aiming for using the math competition as one of your shining points or your advantage of taking the college application, AIME is already a pretty good it's already a pretty good proof. Okay, so if you go to the common application for most of the like college, especially some colleges focus on the STEM projects, the same subjects, and they will ask you if you have the MC10, MC12 scores, or if you have AIME scores. If yes, that's gonna be a very good, a very big advantage for you to apply the school. Okay, so that's why we need to take MCA. So even though MCA will not directly decide if you're gonna enter AIME, but it will serve as a foundation for you to prepare for MC10 and 12. So that's why it's also very important. And also for some like a private school, if you have MCA scores, they probably will consider you to their private school, private school. Okay, so this is why we need to take the MCA and MC test. And here's a little proof. Okay, so MC is actually a must-have for top 30 science and engineering majors. Okay, we actually collected because we also we used to offer the AP classes, and right now we still offer SAT classes. So from the exam score or from the application results of our SAT students, we realized that for those students who get to the top schools like CMU, UCLA, and like all of the UC schools, or even Harvard math or financial like majors, those are the requirements. For example, you have like a MC top 10, top 1%, you qualify for AIME, qualify twice, and you have like your AIME top 1%, MC10, MC12. So those are the strong proof for you for the to the college that you have the qualification. So that's why it's really a big advantage. And also we realize for the private schools, they usually have better competition results. So this is one example of the like school from like Bellevue area, the Lakeside school. Okay, so you can see they have like a pretty good competition results. Even some of them made into USAMO. Okay, that's pretty like a shining results. But this is why. This is actually because if you're only in public school, the public school only moves at like a basic pace. So that means it leaves a little time for you to like really pursue your MC awards. So if you wanna go to like achieve MC8 or MC10 results, you have to go to accelerated or private schools. Okay, so this is a general path. If you're in a public school in grade 8, then you can just sort of master the learned all of the MCA points. But if you're in a private school or you learned pre-algebra or you learned something in our long-term class, your MCA first try is gonna be in grade 6. That leaves a lot of time for you to try MC10 later. Okay, so that's why I think Academy encourages students to develop the math in long term instead of just like trying it for once or twice. And so that with the school learning and competitions, they're actually complementing each other to help you building a great portfolio for the college application. Okay, and this is to answer this parents from primary school. So right now, after grade 4 and grade 5's trial in the MCA, so what's the next step? So because in general, our system is divided into 3 different levels. The first one is ACE class, which I'm teaching right now. The ACE class is for the top tier, top students, and they're actually really taking math competition seriously. So our first try is gonna be in grade 4. And then in grade 5, they're gonna have honor roll, and grade 6 have distinguished honor roll. And starting in grade 7, they're gonna have their MC10 first try. And if the students are in like the normal competition track, which means in mastery or advancement, or in middle school, it's called honors, and they're gonna try MC8 in grade 5. And in grade 7, they're gonna get distinguished honor roll. And for the lowest one, the regular one, which means it's those group of students who only learn 1 year ahead of school, but they like barely touched any competition content. They also have chance to get to MCA track. That is because in this track we have the honor system. So if you can go to pre-algebra honor system, you can also learn something MCA knowledge point. So that in grade 6 you can also get achievement roll, which is already pretty like advanced pace for most of the students. So this is for primary school. So this is like what I said. Currently in grade 4 long-term competition class. So your goal is to like learn MCA 80% knowledge points, and then in the grade 5 you're gonna have your MCA first try. Okay, so this is for most of the students in the yellow layer. Okay, and MCA is actually starting point for you to building the competition confidence and also your foundations. And it is also a beginning of the middle school learning. So this is to answer some of the students, middle school students, parents. They're saying if it's too late to start to learn MCA, it's actually not. Okay, because the honor system of pre-algebra and algebra 1 fully covers knowledge points of MCA. Okay, so if you want to join the competition learning and you're already in middle school, you can do that. But the pace is just like slightly slower than if you learn from the primary school. But still, you get to like the pretty advanced pace to have achievement roll in grade 6. And this one can match most of the private schools like pace, and it's even learning like much deeper than the private schools. Okay, so this is the grade 5, and those are the examples for those students with no foundation for math competition, but they started to learn pre-algebra honors, started to learn MCA starting in the 6th grade. They also got pretty good results as well. Someone get like 23 points. That's already the highest score in pre-algebra course. Most of them will get like 15, 17, around that. So which means they can also get achievement rolls. Okay. So this is like I said, the students currently in grade 5 and 6 studying in pre-algebra. Your goal is actually to get MCA honor roll, distinguished honor roll in next year's MCA. And starting from like grade 7 or the next year, your goal is to AIME for the MC10. But for the group of students who are currently in grade 7 and 8, my suggestion is for you to really start to learn MC10. Okay, so do not waste your time in MCA learning. Instead, go to MC10 directly so that you can have a chance to this year have a first try of MC10. Okay. So in general, or in a summary, our professional planning for the future, and also you need to seizing the present to review the questions in the last week before the exam and take the mock exam and read the explanations and also adjust your mindset. Math competition is indeed a long-term thing. Okay. And here is our like a summary of the like great news is for MCA. We actually from 2022 to 2024, the number of achievement roll, honor roll, and distinguished honor roll, and the full mark students actually more than doubled. Okay, so in 2024 we have 19 full marks and more than almost 250 achievement roll and more than 200 honor roll and almost 100 distinguished honor roll. So that's pretty great results. And just like past this year's MC10, we've already have 130 AIME qualifier. So right now I'm showing the 2023's MC10 result, but in the 2024 MC10, we already have more than 130 AIME qualifier, and the distinguishing the honor roll students, it's more than 100. So we're improving like step by step, like improving every year. So we are really good at like helping our students to win awards, but at the same time, we're actually better at long-term math ability cultivation. So yes. And at the end, you can still scan a QR code if you haven't done so to get the mock exam collections, daily practice problems, and other like MCA learning materials that we can send in the group chat. So you can just scan the QR code to get to our WhatsApp group chat. Okay, so will there be the same amount of problems and same categories? Let me see any questions. Oh, you guys are discussing. Usually take MC 10 before getting a good grades. Okay, so it's not necessarily you have to get a good grade in MC 10 before entering learning MC 10. Usually, if you already get the pretty, if you have a good grade in MC 10, in MCA, then moving into MC 10 will be like relatively easier for you, and you also have a higher chance to have a high score. But if you already enter a little bit late, like let's see, if you're in grade 7 and grade 8, all of a sudden you want to prepare for MC, I would suggest you to go for MC 10 directly, because MC 10's test like the knowledge points, it's pretty different from MC 8. Okay, so they are mostly tests on some like algebra 1 and some of the geometry modules, so that's a little bit different. So I would recommend you to directly prepare for MC 10. What's the general correct percentage of the last 5 questions? Okay, so to answer that question, so like should we like spend a little time on the last 5 question and to try educated guessing on the last 5 questions? This really based on your goal, okay? Your goal, if it's only like to get honor roll, which is in between 18 to 19, sort of that range, then I'd say you definitely need to focus on more on the first 20 questions and then spend relatively less time, let's see, 10 minutes for the last 5 questions, or like even less than that, 5 minutes, 5 to 8 minutes to the last 5 questions. But if your goal is to get distinguish on a roll, then I say you need to try all of the questions. Yeah, because distinguish on a roll is usually from 21 to 23, which means you only can lose 2 to 4 points, and that's actually a pretty hard ones. So you need to try all the questions. Your son is taking exam tomorrow. Okay, so if your son is taking tomorrow, I would say don't do that much of the practice. Just give him like a review the night before. Just let him review all of the like wrong questions to make sure he understand all of the wrong questions knowledge points. Okay, and don't give him like extra ones, because that will affect his mindset. Yeah. AIME questions, how it's formatted. Um, AIME, I'm not that familiar with AIME, but I think there's in total 15 questions, and each one is also like a black filling or multiple choice. I'm not sure, but usually if you can like get 12, you can probably qualify the USA GMO or USA MO based on if you are using MC 10 or MC 12 to qualify for AIME. Okay, so if you just joined, don't worry, we're gonna send the like all of the materials later? Yes. Okay. Yeah, so if you don't have any more questions, I guess that will be our seminar for today. And just make sure you guys or scan the QR code to enter the group chat so that I can like send you the materials and the mock exams. You can better prepare. Okay. Where's Think Academy based? So we're actually based in San Jose, which is the Bay Area, and but right now we're mostly focused on our online businesses. With we also have like campus in Bellevue, in Washington, and also in Irvine, and also in here San Jose. Yeah. Oh, in Canada. So, students from Canada can also join our online classes. We'll have a lot of students from Canada and also a lot of students from mainland China. They're also taking all of the courses from us. Yeah, no problem. Okay, everyone, that will be the show for today. Thank you all for coming and join the group chat. If you have any questions, you can ask it there. Okay, see you guys. Bye bye. See you. Bye.